Let's talk about the silent struggle that everybody notices but nobody really talks about, which is women's mental health in India. In India, women are the backbone of families, workplaces, and communities. Yet, when it comes to mental health, their struggles are often unseen, unspoken, and untreated. Mental health is an issue that affects millions, but for Indian women, it often carries an additional weight. From childhood, many women are conditioned to prioritize others over themselves, to be the dutiful daughter, the nurturing mother, or the self-sacrificing wife. While these roles are celebrated, they come with an unspoken expectation that a woman's well-being must always come second. Here's a troubling fact. Over 40% of Indian women with mental health issues never seek help due to the fear of judgment or social backlash. Mental health is still a taboo topic in many households, leaving countless women suffering in silence. Science also tells us that prolonged stress and unprocessed emotions can rewire the brain, making it harder to cope over time. Mental health isn't just about emotions. It impacts our physical health too, leading to sleep disorders, weakened immunity, and even heart diseases. So, what can we really do? Start conversations. We can support each other. We can challenge the stigma. Seeking help isn't a sign of weakness. It is a sign towards strength. Therapy, self-care, and a strong support system can make all the difference. We need to normalize talking about mental health, not just in crisis but in everyday life. We can encourage open discussions in families, workplaces, and even schools. Most importantly, let's create a culture where seeking help is seen as courageous, not shameful. A single conversation can make all the difference. Let's talk about mental health in different life stages. When you are a child, you are full of curiosity, energy, enthusiasm. The world is your oyster. As you grow, you face different roads, some smooth, some bumpy, but all leading to new chapters of life. Just like the seasons change, so does our mental health. But often we wait for the storm clouds of stress, anxiety, or burnout to roll in before we can start taking care of ourselves. When we are children, mental health is like planting seeds. We learn to manage our emotions, build resilience, and develop social skills. If those seeds are watered with love, guidance, and healthy coping strategies, then we have strong foundations. But when we face neglect, bullying, or stress at a young age, we can also start the struggle part. As we move into adolescence, mental health shifts. The teenage years are filled with desire for independence, the search for identity, and the challenge of balancing school, friendships, and for some people, even work experiences. This is a time when our mental health really needs our attention because stress, anxiety, and self-doubt can easily take over if we don't know how to manage them. Let's talk about adulthood, where we find ourselves juggling careers, relationships, and perhaps even raising children. It's like balancing plates. Each new responsibility adds more weight. Burnout, anxiety, and depression can silently creep in if we don't create boundaries and prioritize our well-being. And mental health becomes a fine-tuned instrument that requires regular care and adjustment. And in the final stages of our life, mental health often revolves around reflection, dealing with changes like retirement, aging, or loss. It's like tending to a garden, making sure we nurture a sense of purpose, connection with others, and inner peace as we age. Grief, loneliness, and the fear of unknown can weigh heavily, but they also bring valuable lessons about self-compassion. At every step, mental health is crucial. It's not something that you can put on hold to fix later. Just like you wouldn't wait till a garden is overgrown to start tending to it, your mental health needs attention now. Whether you're a teenager, a business professional, or somebody who are entering golden years, start planting those seeds of well-being today. You deserve to feel good no matter where you are in life. So ask yourself, how are you going to tend to your mental garden today? Don't wait for the storm to hit. Take the time to nurture your mind and it will carry you through all seasons of life. As we all know, growth is an essential part of life. It can mean taking risks, pushing boundaries, or just striving to be better. It is what motivates us and keeps us going every day. For some professionals, it can be about scaling your business or making advancement in your career. For students, it can be learning something new or just getting better marks at their test. Growth challenges us to go beyond the familiar and embrace the unknown. But what happens when it becomes an obsessive need? When success in one area isn't enough, the drive to improve spills onto every aspect of life. This is called growth addiction, a compulsive need for progress, whether in work, personal, or professional life. Like work addiction, it is fueled by dopamine rush of events. But research has proved that unchecked growth obsession can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and even burnout. The science behind growth addiction lies in the brain's reward system. Achievements trigger the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. This creates a cycle of seeking constant validation and progress, similar to the neurological patterns observed in substance abuse. But here's the paradox. Chasing constant growth doesn't always lead to fulfillment. Several studies have also shown that workaholism is also linked to lower well-being, higher stress, and even decreased productivity in the long run. So how do we break free? The key is sustainable growth. Setting boundaries, prioritizing rest, and embracing imperfection is the way to ahead. True success isn't just about climbing higher, it's also about knowing when to pause. Growth is valuable, but not at the cost of your well-being. Work smarter, live better. Thank you. Eating clean and only healthy food, where it's almost an obsession. We all know that eating healthy is important. We all want to nourish our bodies, feel our best, and take care of us. But what happens when that food is no longer a source of joy, but a source of stress? We live in a world that constantly bombards us with information about what to eat, what to avoid. Social media showcases perfectly portioned meals. Influencers promote the latest superfoods. And grocery aisles always have labels boasting clean, organic, free from this or that. But in an effort to do what's best for us, we start paying closer and closer attention, making small changes. At first, it feels good, empowering even. But then a subtle shift happens. You start wondering if the food is clean enough, if it is healthy enough, if it is pure enough, or spending more time researching what's to save than actually enjoying your meals. The list of acceptable food gets smaller and smaller, and you start obsessively reading labels. But the more we chase perfect eating, the more unhealthy our relationship with food becomes. Research has proven that extreme dietary restrictions can lead to disordered eating, nutrient imbalances, and a lower quality of life. The brain's reward system responds to control. Every strict food choice provides a sense of achievement. We think that we are becoming healthier by eating healthy. But at the same time, the fear of unhealthy food activates the amygdala, the brain's fear center, triggering anxiety. This creates a cycle where rigid eating behaviors feel necessary for safety and self-worth, making them incredibly hard to break. So how do we break free? The key is balance and flexibility. Recognizing that food is not just fuel, but also culture, connection, and enjoyment. It is much more than nourishment. Instead of obsessing over rules, focus on variety. Allow yourself to enjoy all types of food in moderation without guilt. Give yourself permission to eat intuitively and listen to your body's cues. Eating should be an experience of nourishment, not a test of discipline. Thank you. Have you ever woken up feeling tired and sluggish, only to reach for a cup of coffee to start your day? I know I have. But what if that comforting ritual is more than just a habit? Have you ever thought about that? This might lead to caffeine addiction. It's easy to overlook how something as simple as your daily coffee can affect your body and mind in ways that you might not realize, but it actually runs deeper. Caffeine is the most widely used psychoactive substance in the world, consumed by nearly 90% of adults globally. But how can you tell if you're addicted? If you find yourself needing coffee first thing in the morning, if you feel anxious or jittery without it, or if you feel that you need to have coffee or you find yourself having withdrawal symptoms, this is a sign that you might be dependent. Actually, caffeine blocks adenosine, a brain chemical that makes us feel sleepy. But over time, your brain adapts and you need more and more caffeine to counteract the tiredness. This dependency can cause withdrawal symptoms like headaches, irritability, or even fatigue. Caffeine addiction can also lead to problems like insomnia, anxiety, and even heart palpitations. If this is something that you are experiencing, please watch the video. If you are worried about caffeine addiction, it's important to reduce your intake gradually. Replacing a cup of coffee with an healthier alternative like a green tea or water can help your body adjust without severe withdrawal symptoms. Remember, caffeine isn't inherently bad, but like anything, moderation is key. Stay mindful of your body signals and focus on how caffeine affects you. By making small adjustments, you can regain control over your health. Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about doomscrolling. But what exactly is doomscrolling? Let's get to the basics first. We have never had access to this much information before. The internet has become a never-ending flood of news, updates, and opinions, pouring into our screens 24/7. At first, it feels useful, a quick scroll to stay informed. But then one headline leads to another, one reel leads to another, one post leads to another, and suddenly hours have passed. It's like a quicksand. The more we try to stay on top of things, the deeper we sink. This is what is known as doomscrolling, a compulsive habit of endlessly consuming news and distressing content, whether positive or negative. We do it to stay informed, sometimes to avoid sitting with our thoughts, or simply because our brains crave that instant dopamine hit from new information. But over time, this behavior rewires our brain, making it harder and harder to focus, rest, and feel at ease. Scrolling gives us small dopamine hits, keeping us hooked. It's like eating junk food. Each bite feels satisfying, but when you eat too much, it leaves you feel drained and sluggish. This constant push and pull of stress and reward traps us in an exhausting cycle. But how do we break free? The key is intentional consumption. Being mindful of what we consume, setting our screen limits, and curating content that informs us rather than overwhelms is the first start. A good practice is to schedule designated news checking times to know when to log off instead of scrolling impulsively. There are also settings where you can turn off your social media at night. You can replace doom scrolling with healthier habits like reading, meditating, or engaging in face-to-face conversations. It can help reset the brain and reduce stress. Information should empower, not exhaust us. The goal is to stay aware of the world without sacrificing our own well-being. By shifting from passive consumption to intentional engagement, we can regain control and find balance in the digital age. What do you think? Do you know about the dark side of fandom, when admiration becomes obsession? Have you ever been a fan of anybody? Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Madhuri Dixit, or probably Deepika Padukone? These are just the movies, but they also extend to music, sports, and gaming. Fandoms give us a sense of belonging. We all love a good story. They make us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. But what happens when that admiration turns into obsession? When a fan's emotional world revolves entirely around a celebrity, influencer, or fictional character? This is where fandom addiction and parasocial relationships come into the picture. Parasocial relationships are when we feel a deep emotional bond with somebody who doesn't even know that we exist. It's a one-sided relationship where a fan feels connected to a public figure through their content, interviews, or performances. While this is common and often harmless, it can become unhealthy when it replaces real-life relationships and self-identity. Fandom addiction can also impact real life. Prioritizing fictional words over responsibilities, feeling extreme distress over celebrity news, or even engaging in toxic online behavior are warning signs that the balance has tipped. So, how do we find balance? The key is mindful engagement. Enjoying fandoms is great, but not at the cost of your personal growth, relationships, or mental health. Setting limits, diversifying interests, and nurturing real-world connections can really help us ground ourselves. Passion should inspire, not consume. It's time to engage wisely, appreciate, but don't lose yourself in the process. We are going to talk about procrastination. We all have heard the word procrastination time and over again. But is procrastination really a form of avoidance, or is it addiction? Basically, we all procrastinate. Whether it's delaying an important project, avoiding an uncomfortable conversation, or putting off a difficult decision, we've all been there. But have you ever asked to stop yourself why? Is it simply about laziness, or is it something deeper? Quite often, procrastination is a form of avoidance. When faced with a task that triggers our stress, or a fight or flight, or fear of failure, our brain looks for an escape. And that escape often comes in the form of distractions. Our phones, social media, binge watching, even suddenly deciding to clean the entire house to prevent us from doing the actual task at hand. But here's the catch. Procrastination isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It can actually feel rewarding. When we delay a task or indulge in something enjoyable instead, our brain releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical involved in addiction. This creates a cycle where avoiding work becomes a source of short-term pleasure, reinforcing the habit of procrastination. But the relief is temporary. As deadlines get closer, stress builds. The guilt and anxiety of procrastination pile up, making the task feel even more overwhelming. And so, we repeat the cycle. Delay, distract, panic, repeat. So how do we break free? The key is shifting our mindset. recognizing that procrastination isn't a time management problem, but an emotional regulation issue. Instead of focusing on willpower alone, we need to build strategies to manage discomfort. Start by identifying the why behind your procrastination. Are you avoiding failure, chasing perfectionism, or simply feeling overwhelmed? Once you understand the root cause, you can address it directly. Then reframe tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Our brains resist large, daunting projects, but breaking them into bite-sized pieces can actually make them feel achievable. And instead of seeking instant gratification through distractions, try a reward system, something that gives you a dopamine boost after completing a task rather than before. The goal isn't to eliminate distractions forever. It is to build awareness, take control, and have a healthier relationship with productivity. Thank you. Today's video is for all the teenagers out there. Video games can be exciting, immersive, and even rewarding. They offer adventure, competition, and a sense of achievement. But what happens when the controller never leaves your hands? When minutes turn into hours, the reality starts to feel less and less engaging than the game itself. Imagine a hamster on a wheel, running endlessly but never really getting anywhere. Gaming addiction works the same way. The more we play, the more we chase the next level, the next victory, and the next dopamine hit. And just like that never-ending maze, the escape is harder than we think. Video games trigger the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure and motivation. In moderation, this is fine, but excessive gaming floods the brain with dopamine, making everyday activities feel dull by comparison. Over time, players may struggle to feel joy outside of gaming, leading to withdrawal, mood swings, or even compulsive behavior. And beyond dopamine, gaming also provides something many people lack in real life: control, confidence, and achievement. In games, players can be heroes, leaders, or experts in ways they may struggle to be in reality. The ability to level up, make strategic decisions, and dominate opponents creates a sense of empowerment that might be missing outside the screen. It is easier to project confidence in the virtual world than to build it in real life. But when gaming becomes the primary source of self-worth, real-life challenges can start to feel impossible to overcome. So what can we really do about it? The key is moderation and mindfulness, setting gaming limits, taking breaks, and finding fulfillment in real-world activities. Replace screen time with exercise, socializing, or creative hobbies. If gaming feels like an escape, ask yourself, what am I escaping from? Addressing underlying stressors can help regain balance. Games should be a fun, not a trap. The goal isn't to quit entirely, but to game with intention, not compulsion. By setting boundaries, diversifying activities, and focusing on our own well-being, we can enjoy games without letting them take over us. Be mindful in moderation. Thank you. Let's talk about the intersection of mental health and physical health. Mental health and physical health are treated as two separate things, but in reality, they are often deeply connected. When one is struggling, the other often feels its impact. For example, whenever you're stressed or whenever you have anxiety, you can feel it in your chest or your stomach. Similarly, if you are sick or you're unwell, you can also feel low or sad. Understanding this connection is crucial if we want to take better care of ourselves, both mentally and physically. Let's break it down a little bit. When we are stressed or anxious, our brains release stress hormones like cortisol. These hormones can affect our body in many ways, from increased heart rate to muscle tension. On the flip side, when we engage in physical activity, our brains release endorphins, natural mood boosters that help to reduce stress and anxiety. Movement is one of the best ways that we can support our mind and body. Studies show that regular physical activity can actually reduce feelings of anxiety, depression, and sadness. When we exercise, we not only improve our fitness but also boost our brain's ability to produce those feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, which enhances our mood and mental clarity. Yoga and meditation are also great ways to connect with your body and mind. These practices help reduce stress, calm the nervous system, and improve clarity, all the while keeping your body active and engaged. Here's something to think about. What can you do today to support both your mental and physical health? Start today. Your mind and body will thank you later.